Some say the night holds no more secrets than the day. That darkness is just the absence of light, nothing more. But those who believe that have never listened closely to the whispering winds or felt the cold, creeping fingers of fear that crawl up your spine when the clock strikes midnight. They've never stared into the shadows long enough to see the shapes that move when no one's looking. Tonight you will. For in this story the darkness is alive, and once it finds you, it never lets go. It was a cold, windy night when Sarah first heard the knock. Living alone in a small cottage on the edge of the woods, Sarah was used to the sounds of nature, the wind howling through the trees, the creaking of branches. But this knock? It was different. It was deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. She glanced at the clock. 12:03 a.m. Too late for visitors and too far from town for anyone to just drop by. Cautiously, she approached the front door. There was no one through the peephole, just darkness. Her heart began to race. Knock, knock, knock. The sound echoed again, this time louder, more urgent. Sarah's fingers trembled as she reached for the lock but hesitated. Who would be out here at this hour? She pulled the door open. No one. Just the cold wind and the moonlit yard. She stepped outside, her breath visible in the chilly air. There was nothing around except the dense woods. Shrugging it off as some prank or her imagination, Sarah locked the door and went back to bed. The next night, at exactly 12:03 a.m., it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. This time, Sarah didn't go to the door. She waited, listening. A chill ran down her spine as she realized the knocking wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from the window. She turned slowly toward the sound, her heart pounding. There, pressed against the glass, was the pale face of a child, its eyes wide and hollow, staring directly at her. Before she could scream, the child whispered in a voice colder than the night itself, "Let me in." Sarah backed away, her breath quickening, but the knocking continued, louder now, more insistent. "Knock, knock, knock." "Let me in," the voice said again, more forceful this time. She ran to the bedroom, slammed the door, and crawled under the blankets, her body shaking. The knocking seemed to follow her, echoing through the walls of the house. The child's voice grew louder, more desperate. "Let me in!" The knocking didn't stop until dawn. The following night, Sarah didn't wait for 12:03 a.m. She packed her things and left the cottage for good, moving into the city. But even now, sometimes, when the wind blows just right and the clock strikes midnight, she swears she can still hear it. Knock, knock, knock.